How's it going, guys? It's Rad, and welcome to my Warlords of Draenor Shadow Priest PvP guide. Currently the patch is 6.0.3. However, I'm seeing that seasons last forever, and typically this stuff will stay the same, maybe like a minute change. This will probably last for all of Warlords of Draenor. So yeah, Shadow Priests have essentially gone through two changes. Healing has pretty much been the same the entire, season, last season, and now. You can use your power word shield, your perv mending, all your stuff. The only decrease in healing is that perv mending is now casting, so it will kind of slow down your AoE team pickup and versatility. However, damage has increased. They're pretty much the new mages with a talent, which I'll be explaining in a second. They can insta-cast and do high amounts of damage. Honestly, Shadow Priests are very support class based. They have a high amount of utility with also burst windows, which can combo pretty well. I think combined with their versatility to help out their healer through times of high pressure or CC, I think they're going to be really good. So in general, the spec is pretty basic. It involves shadow form, which is a form that you can, or a state you can go into. It decreases damage taken and increases shadow damage output. This is pretty much where you're going to be sitting in all times, besides when you're healing. Shadow Word Pain is a basic dot, which is an insta-cast damage over time. Mind Blast is a castable spell, which hits really hard and rewards one Shadow Orb. And Devouring Plague is your biggest damage dealing ability, which consumes 3 Shadow Orbs and puts on a dot after hitting an initial amount. You also get Vampiric Touch, which is another dot, which is castable. So, moving on to talents, you definitely want to take Spectral Guys 100%. If you're playing a Priest, you're taking Spectral Guys. If you're also playing a Priest, you're also taking Angel's Luke Feather. So, those first two talents are baseline from all Priest specs. After that, you want to be taking Surge of Darkness, which gives your Vampiric Touch or Devouring Plague a 10% chance to proc an instant cast, no consumption Mind Spike, which is basically a damage doing ability, which will crit pretty high. Also after that you want to be picking up Psychic Scream, pretty baseline. Fears are important now. After that, Twist of Fate is very valuable. Basically, when the target is below 35%, you do an increase to 15% damage. Seeing that the game is slower and the people are going to be staying at lower amounts of HP for longer periods of time, I think this is very valuable to do more damage and help execute your target effectively. It's really efficient. Halo is definitely a good choice too. It does a crap ton of damage, plus the spread is really fast, so you can use it to combo really quickly instead of having to actually time your lineup and stuff like that. And after that is Clarity of Power. Basically, this makes it so when you have no dots on a target, you deal an increase of 40% damage from your Mind Flay, your Mind Blast, and your Mind Spike. So this basically means that you're going to be stacking up procs, and then you're going to be swapping to your target, your kill target, and not putting on any dots and just laying in these procs, So it's kind of a different change. They're more like a non-dot class, for killing at least. You're still going to be utilizing dots to harness procs. So as you can see, after that, onto Glyphs. Pretty simple. Glyph of Mind Blast, which basically makes it so when you crit with Mind Blast, which you're going to be using a lot, your target will be slowed. After that, you're going to be using Glyph of Fade, which decreases damage taken while in the state of Fade. It's basically just kind of a quick, small damage reduction, which helps out. After that, Glyph of Dispersion basically increases your movement speed by 30% while you disperse, or after you disperse. This is good just to, get away and pretty baseline. You can use Glyph of Massive Spell if you're fighting a Ret or a Mage. I would swap out the probably Glyph of Mind Blast for that, or Dispersion. They're both pretty, I don't know, basic, I guess. But going back to that Clarity of Power, basically it's really strong now because it makes Mind Blast an instant cast and it reduces the cooldown by 3 seconds, so you're going to be Mind Blasting a lot more. It's like your main ability. It's like the Ice Lance of Priest, I guess, now, except it does have a cooldown. It hits really hard with that, 40% increased damage, so you can be hitting upwards of, currently right now, like 40-50 Ks with that thing. So if you have like 3 Mind Spikes and then the Mind Blast, you can just do Mind Blast, Mind Spike, Devouring Plague, Mind Spike, and that'll probably be around 150 to 300,000 damage, depending on crits and whatnot. So as you can see, you know, the class has a high damage potential. It's just really having the opportunity to, you know, put this out. If you don't trust me when it comes down to talents or glyphs or whatever, this is directly what the multi-rank 1 gladiator Krill does. So, you know, you can check out his armory just for kind of like a reference, but this is exactly what he does. If you don't like trust me, I see some people in comments that are like, oh, this is not what you do, but you know, trust me, I've looked it up and I've tested it, and this is the most effective damage dealing. Stuff can change later in the game, but currently this is what you're going to be wanting to run. When it comes down to Shadow Priest, there's certain things you need to understand. I'm basically just going to kind of talk about Shadow as if you've never played it before, just to give you guys a kind of like a all-around basic knowledge on how to play and how the class works currently. Your main go-to ability right now is Mind Blast. Whenever that thing is off cooldown, you want to be pressing that button. Because you're running Clarity of Power, you know, there's no reason not to Mind Blast. Originally, you'd have to cast it and stand still, but seeing that it's instant cast now, you literally can just, whenever it's off cooldown, you're just hitting your Mind Blast button, which is extremely important. You need to make sure you use that as much as possible, because it's going to stack up your shadow orbs, which are your main damage output. So just Mind Blast on cooldown. After that, your kill target, you're not going to be wanting to put any dots on, because if he has dots on them, the kill target will take, you know, normal damage. But if they have no dots, they'll take 40% increased damage from, you know, your Mind Blast and your Mind Spikes. So this is good just to keep in mind. Shadow Priests are used to just spamming dots on everybody and then hitting their kill target with the procs. This is opposite now. They're going to want to be putting dots on their off target, not putting dots on their healer that you're going to be CCing, and then having no dots on their kill target. So essentially, pretty much throughout the game, there'll probably be only one or two people maximum that have dots on them. Usually just off target, just to get procs, and then your kill target will be, you know, having no dots on them, so you can just spam your Mind Spikes and your Mind Blasts. Like I said, main damage comes from Mind Blast. However, Devouring Plague does a crap ton of damage, and Mind Spikes do a whole bunch of damage as well. So as long as you just continually rotate between procs of Mind Spike and Mind Blast, and then randomly, or not randomly, but time up your Devouring Plagues with your kill potentials, I guess. It should be pretty easy to down people. Make sure you use your execute as well. It does reward 1 Shadow Orb for actually using it, so you can use it twice, so that's 2 free Shadow Orbs really quickly. Another tip is that the force, or actually the 2-set bonus for Shadow Priests, makes it so when you do your Psychic Horror ability, you actually rewarded your Shadow Orbs back 1 per 3 seconds. So if you just do the maximum stun duration of 3, you'll get all 3 back within 9 seconds. So that's really good to keep in mind. A lot of priests were afraid of last season to use, you know, Psychic Core, because it uses Shadow Orbs, and that's all your damage. However, now I think it's really good that they rewarded people for actually using the stun now. So keep in mind, this is a very valuable ability, Psychic Core that is. You can, you know, full stun your healer that you're trying to CC for 5 seconds into a 6-second silence, into a 8-second fear. So right there, that's 5, 6, and 8. That's 19 seconds of CC by yourself, as long as they're not on DR. So that's just something to keep in mind. That's really good too, because it's all different types of CC, so they don't DR with each other, because a stun, a silence, and a fear. So overall, that's just a very strong CC that comes from Shadow Priests, and I think that's why they're going to be extremely valuable. On top of the ability to Mass Dispel Cyclones, if you do run Glyph of Mass Dispel, also being able to Mass Dispel off bubbles and what's it called? Ice blocks. So these are just kind of some strengths of the class. High utility, high burst windows, and especially burst now, and it does have some pretty decent off healing. Flash of Light does, or heal rather, Flash Heal does some pretty substantial healing, so I would definitely recommend using it. Hopefully you guys got some basic information about Shadow Priest, so you can go and try it out in the arena, just test out what it works, and see if you guys have any luck. Let me know if there's anything you think should be changed or whatever. I'll put it in the description if there's any updates to this guide. And yeah, I'll check you guys some other time. Peace.